Let's do this. Okay, so we're on. This is a very special edition of The Beat Goes On, global internet radio show on the newly formed KCOSdigitalmedia.com. And we're so proud to do this, continuing our quest to be the source of local music from Southern Colorado, Colorado in general, to the world. And one of the greatest gifts that I think that we can give is the gift of music. And so I am very proud and very happy to be doing what I call on the event page, the second annual Pre-Noche de los Muertos show with my good friend that I don't see enough, Ryan Flores. You are such a cool dude for continuing this tradition for how long now?
So this is our 6th year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been quite a ride and humbling and fun.
Well, I was with you last year, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what was the count on the attendance at that
I think we had
show?
400 last year.
I'm sure there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, it was fun. So that was our second biggest year. I think the third year we had 500. So it was pretty good. You know, it's still pretty intimate as far as crowds and concerts go. But for us, it's good. And this year we're gonna have probably 200 or less. And we're doing it's kind of a homecoming show because we're going back to the original venue where we started. So it's a smaller venue, but we like these intimate sort of spaces, and we're kind of back to basics and back to the roots. In as much as we got several years really into the spectacle and a lot of dancing and a lot of eye candy, and this year it's like we got a couple dance performances and some visuals and some live painting, but by and large it's about the traditional underpinnings of the offerings to the dearly departed, and then some good solid music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys balance it out. You keep true to the tradition, and as I say every time, I'm from Central California, Fresno.
Yeah.
My homies let me know, and they respond to the shows, which I love. It's really, this is my science project gone right now for a couple of years, and I'm just thrilled. I want to be part of this tradition with you as long as you do this, man.
Awesome. Likewise. Yeah, it's a pleasure to collaborate with you. Yeah.
I know last year, I shot a lot of footage, and we never really got it together for that documentary that you wanted to see.
You know what? I've just been so busy. I
know.
Played a couple hundred shows this year, and driven 20,000 miles, and this summer alone, and so it's like, maybe next year we'll get to that.
Well, and that's it. Now that we are on our own, we've got a team.
Yeah.
I love my team. I'm missing my team because, as I told you, Lisa and Chuck are continuing their challenges, and we wish all the best to them and pray for them. And Laura and Nate are helping out with them too. And
nice.
Ed is the shadow man that stays in the shadows usually, and he's not here because he's a little under the weather, so it is really just me and you having a conversation.
Okay,
in the what we've been calling the basement sessions, but we're upstairs today, so but it's fun. How about starting out with a song?
Sure,
for those who have not heard what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll start with a tango flamenco fusion that I think we will likely start the show with something like this. So.
absolutely amazing.
Thank
I
you.
just love this so much because, like you say, being raised in Central California, this is a very special time of year for, the population who's really been indigenous to California.
Yeah.
And Halloween has just taken over and been crazy, and it's not about candy. I love the tradition about this, about honoring the family.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I was just on KRCC with Vicky yesterday morning, the local NPR station here in Colorado Springs, and we're talking about the ancient underpinnings of this, and it goes back. Day of the Dead goes back more than 3,000 years to the Mexica people, who were the Aztecs, effectively, and from whom Mexico gets its name. The Spaniards didn't, they came over and sort of morphed it into Mexico instead of Mexico or Mexica, and so but it's interesting because their birthplace, the Mexica, or where they purportedly came from, is Aztlan, which is here in the Southwest, and so actually it's almost like a homecoming for Day of the Dead, because it came the birthplace of this celebration of Mictecacigualdo, who is the Lady of the Dead, and she's Mictlantecuhtli is the Lord of the Dead, and she is his wife, who watches over the bones in the underworld in Mictlan. And so the early traditions of the Mexica people were to pay homage to the Lady of the Dead, because she's watching over the remains of the ancestors. And so they would offer, pay homage to that. But then it kind of morphed over millennia, or at least centuries, into this ancestor worship, it was originally celebrated for a whole month around August. And so they would, invite the dead back to the spirits of the deceased back to be honored and celebrate their lives and what they left here, and so it's really fascinating, a really fascinating cultural backstory to this holiday that not a lot of people understand, because here in America it's like, oh yeah, paint your face into a sugar skull, and then it's like Halloween, and it's actually way different. But it's not so disparate that there can't be parallels made between the two, because even like say Halloween, they were both usurped and assimilated syncretically into Catholicism. Like Halloween, even the word is a portmanteau of Samhain, spelled Samhain, Samhain, which is their tradition, similar tradition of honoring the dead and staving off evil spirits in the Celtic tradition. And when the Catholics came over to Ireland, they had All Hallowtide, which is the tridum of All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day, and at any rate, and so they meshed them together, hybridized them, and it became Halloween, Hallowtide, Samhain, Halloween. So very similar. Similarly, in Mexico, post-conquest, the Catholics had a similar trajectory, in as much as they conflated this ancient holiday of the celebrating the afterlife and ancestor worship with All Hallowtide. And so it moved from August into November 1st and or 2nd, depending on how you celebrate it, but into All Hallowtide, which is the week of the saints or whatever. But so yeah, very interesting backstory that's been convoluted and morphed and by the conquest and colonialism and especially Catholicism, which serves to do that, and basically everywhere it goes, like Haiti's the same story. They conflate the saints and all of these ancient voodoo deities as well. So yeah, it's a really interesting study. But I think we exemplify this pastiche, in as much as at the core of this show are three people of Mexican descent: myself, Adriana, and Eric Rincon, and so we all are basically Mexican Americans, and so it's kind of like we have this very similar hybridization between here in Aslan, and then our ancestors in Mexico, and we're kind of, and not only that, but this Catholicism, these ancient traditions, and the sort of blending of the two. And so we celebrate Halloween as well in this show, and so it's a very again, it's a an amalgam is a good way to put it, so but it's fun.
Well, last year was definitely just amazing because you had My Name is Harriet.
Yeah.
What an opener. Her music is so beautiful.
She's brilliant.
She has an open invitation to do the show, but in a private message, I'm going to let the secret out. She goes, I don't know what I could add to the show. I'm thinking, oh my God, I haven't written her back to say, that is the show. You are the show.
Yeah.
You were the show. You are everywhere you go. So you also had Roma Ransom, who did a subsequent show with us. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is part of the ripple effect of getting to know the people that play for you around town, and this is the whole message of our show. And even to people listening around the world that think they want to come to Colorado Springs or Colorado because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, it's very cultural too.
Yeah.
You've done a great story of explaining a lot of the misconceptions of the holiday, and myself being Irish American, from the Celtic standpoint, it was every culture has had a memorial for their ancestors, and it just amazes me. Of course, our culture we're a melting pot, but sometimes the pot doesn't get stirred right.
Yeah.
Our children and subsequently adults are basically afraid to go to cemeteries and visit and honor, and they might drop flowers off and whatever they do, but it's not like the culture that you've just explained where they actually bring food. All the family comes around, sits down at the tombstones, and that's what really the message that I like to impart, that we should never, ever, ever lose our culture in light of whatever the media throws at us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we're I think the media, by virtue of the media, and this very, and I don't want to disparage or get too cynical about it, but by virtue of the media and this very superficial aspect of our culture, we're afraid of death and dying and aging even, and so it's like this.
We just had that conversation.
Yeah, exactly, and so it's like, this ancient tradition is like actually embraces all of the life cycles, and so it's really nice to have strike a balance there, and to do it in a way that's reverent and humble and graceful and creative, and so I think it's been very positive for us to explore our ancient roots in a way that makes sense to us in the modern era, and that's through this pastiche of music, because we're not a mariachi band, we don't play traditional Mexican music, nor are we Aztecas, so we don't play indigenous music either. We're like a bunch of mixed people, and so we play a mixture. We play Latin gypsy music that's like a different pastiche of world music, but it's got this common thread, so it's not just Latin music, it's like Eastern Europe, there's some jazz in there even, sometimes we get a little bluesy Americana, we've got this Leopard and the Vine. Leopard and the Vine is a new project that we've started last year, and it's kind of similar to Moon Honey, but a little less Latin, and so but we'll be showcasing some of those songs as well. It'll mostly be Moon Honey on Saturday at the Noche de los Muertos show, but yeah, this I play a new song that's loosely based on actual events. I am a weekend hobbyist photographer and went out to Cripple Creek to do a shoot with a a friend of mine, and we actually ended up getting arrested and going to jail. Yeah, and
I didn't see that on Facebook.
no, yeah, no, nothing I'm proud of. But it wasn't for anything. We were in an abandoned building, which there are myriad of abandoned buildings in Cripple Creek, and so we thought it was harmless, and nobody had been in there. The cops even said for more than 3 decades, and so we were just there taking photos because it was a really beautiful, this building, this disrepair, and it's burned, and then crumbling building, and layers and layers of wallpaper and paint. It just had a really great patina to it, especially for a photo shoot. At any rate, so someone reported us, and we ended up going to jail and got a trespassing charge, which is we just took care of. But it inspired me to write a song. So this is called the Cripple Creek Jail, and this is from the new Leopard and the Vine album. Again, it's not Latin, but it's more of a Gypsy Americana. But so we cast a wide net because we're just all mixed and in this American amalgam. So at any rate, here we go. She brought a weight on her shoulder all the way from North Dakota, stretching canvas out on the floor. She doesn't care where she's going or which way the wind is blowing, as long as she can paint a heart on the door. And from the way she walks in her dress to the way she shakes her head, yeah, something wild howls in her soul. But there's no prize and there's no conquest in her eyes. There's just a promise of the sweetest taste you'll ever know. She'll make you dance, dream and wonder through the lightning, through the thunder, and the $10,000 bay. About the spell she puts you under with a smile and a number while you're sitting in the Cripple Creek jail. Now you're just singing in the Cripple Creek jail. You put the motor, beat the clock, you turn the corner, but the cops caught you across the line. The way she talked just made you wanna quit your job and call your mama. Now you're drunk in handcuffs on Highway 9. She'll make you dance, scream and wonder through the lightning, through the thunder, and the $10,000 bay. About the spell she put you under with a smile and a number while you're sitting in the Cripple Creek jail. Now you're just singing in the Cripple Creek jail. Like swirling smoke in a dream, the words she spoke was serpentine, and a big black hole in between what she says and what she means. She'll make you dance, dream and wonder through the lightning, through the thunder, and the $10,000 bay. About the spell she put you under with a smile and a number while you're sitting in the Cripple Creek jail. She'll make you dance, scream and wonder through the lightning, through the thunder, and the $10,000 bay. About the spell she put you under with a smile and a number while you're sitting in the Cripple Creek jail. Now you're just singing in the Cripple Creek jail, and it's $10,000 on your brain.
That's a great song.
No, thanks.
To turn something into a song is well, that's what songwriters do, right?
Yeah.
Personal experiences turned into music. and then, people come to see you and they're going, wow, what's that song about? So it's really, what I love about you is you are a storyteller. You fill in the blanks and it's not just one song right after another, and leave people wondering what the heck's he doing? And I just want to remind everybody that can't see Of course, this is internet radio, but then we also export this to our YouTube channel for the Southern Colorado Musicians and Artists Cooperative on YouTube and Facebook. But it's important to know that you're basically doing this by yourself right now. You're a one-man band, and a lot of times you play as a one-man band.
Most of the time, yeah. I play, lately, especially this summer, I've been playing, probably 3 to 5, sometimes 6 gigs a week, and almost all of those are solo. And so by necessity is the mother of invention, as they say, and so I got so used to playing with the band that it's like, oh man, I really miss the driving rhythms, and so I've kind of tailored my style to accommodate that, without the band. Sometimes I feel like what's Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins. He's got the whole, and although I don't dance like he does, he's a very talented dancer. But at any rate, it is fun, and it's humbling every time I sit down to the rig here. I learn something new, or I'm like, oh, okay, I'm actually working harder to do it this way, or you know what I mean. So I learn every time, So and that's the great thing about music, is like it's really this educational experience for me. It's like to understand life not only as a songwriter through trying to craft a melody and something that's not trite or I don't know, threadbare. Something you try to do it in a way that hasn't been overdone. But then not only that, but trying to express myself. What's in me through the instruments as well is a whole other element to it. So yeah, it's really fun and challenging sometimes, but it's so worth it and fulfilling at the same time.
So this is always the dilemma that we discuss on almost every show with every artist and band that comes in. You so eloquently stated your personal opinion about me saying you being a one-man band. The other side of the coin is being someone that comes to see you and they say, wow, you've got a kick drum, you've got a cajon, you got your cymbal and all your percussion stuff and a couple of guitars, the ukulele and your classical guitar, and most people are going, I can't even carry a tune. So the entertainment that you bring wherever you go is I watch it, I see you play the smaller places that are intimate, for like wine bar, coffee shop, art galleries, and I see the looks on people's faces. They are just totally enthralled by what you do, And
well, I'm lucky.
Well, you are talented.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And the talent leads into my next point, is the fact that since we are now KCOSdigitalmedia.com, we are 24/7 all Colorado music, and we have been playing your Heart-Shaped Records sampler ever since we started doing the local music thing in March of this year. And there's 22 songs on there?
Yeah, and actually it grows all the time. And so right now I've got, there are 5 projects, but the Ondas is a sort of singer-songwriter folk stuff, and I've got a record that's shelved that's already done that I'm waiting to release with 4 other albums, or 3 other albums, beg your pardon. So Moon Honey has historically been a live band, and so we've done very little in the studio. For one, we're both super busy, but we also just love the live aspect of it. But I'm hoping to record. Adriana my musical partner of almost 10 years in Moon Honey, has a whole host of new songs that are really, really lovely, and they fit thematically consistent, and so we're hoping to record an album of that. But the other projects are Love and Water, which is the down-tempo electronic stuff, and that has a full album that's forthcoming, about 4 songs short right now. My solo album, which is almost done, I've been chipping away at it over the last year, Ryan Flores, and it's Coyote del Quinto Mundo, and that will be instrumental, very guitar-driven album, Latin gypsy album. And then Leopard in the Vine, which is the Cripple Creek Jail, that will be on that album. That album's called Viva la Noche. And it'll be a double album of Gypsy Americana, singer-songwriter stuff like this, and then instrumental stuff that has more Latin Gypsy flair. And then there's another one. It's like too many irons in the fire. I can't even keep track of them. So Leopard in the Vine, Love and Water, Moon Honey, Ryan Flores. Yeah, so I guess that is it. Yeah. So yeah, there we go.
You didn't even use your fingers.
I didn't even use my fingers. Yeah. But yeah, so there we go. Yeah, and then so there's a lot more to come, and this time of year is I usually am in the studio more and on the road less, and so I'll definitely be pushing out new material a lot here in the coming months.
Well, we'll play whatever you
Thank you.
send our way.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, and this radio station and these people are amazing, and we're very honored in Colorado and our local community to have you guys here.
This is just the thing that we do because, as we always say, we wouldn't exist if there were no musicians to have on our show. And we're in a town of 500,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's always our mission to make sure that more than a few people come out to see your shows consistently. I mean, there's plenty of entertainment all over the region. Mm-hmm. You guys are playing, everybody's playing everywhere on any given weekend and throughout the week.
We have a rich community here, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be part of it, and I'm very excited about the sort of arc that the scene is taking. It's diversifying, and it's not so. A lot of places that I find it's a lot of bluegrass and a lot of indie rock, and so it's like that's like the vast majority of bands fall into those two categories, and not that there's anything wrong with that. There's just been so much of it, and so it's nice to see like these other sort of styles and subgenres spring up, especially here. Like Xanthi, Alexis is great. The Cold Heart Revival is amazing. Of course, 100 Wind Chimes are one of our most successful and good bands from this area. But there are a host of others. There's like so many. Roma Ransom's great. It's like there's a lot. We have a lot of excellent musicians and songwriters here, and I'm very, very honored to be part of it.
Well, and that's the whole mission too of what we do is we've been pre-show conversation we were talking about my work with our shout out to our sponsor Sunshine Studios.
Sure, yeah.
Tony Cordy, Christina, and Scott Wilson. They do an amazing job of bringing in a loyal and dedicated metal crowd, and they bring in a bunch of supporting local metal bands when the national touring acts come in. Of course, they're a recording studio, so they support in that way. So we play on now that we're 24/7. We're hoping, and the feedback's actually been, you might hear your Ondas song, and then it goes into a Fall from Silence song, heavy metal. Yeah. Then it goes into Xanthi Alexis, sweet folk songs. I mean, it's a random playlist, and we like it that way because we want people to know there's a whole bunch of music out here. Yeah. And like I say, as an export to the world, if you want to come here, I know when I was a traveling guy in my career, I would always check to see wherever city I was going to, who or what was the kind of music that you might want to see when you were there. Yeah. And we are lucky because there's a lot of most of the towns throughout the country, especially smaller towns. That's like that Loverboy song, "Waiting for the Weekend." Yeah. Sometimes music only happens in some towns on the weekend. Mm. And it might even be just either Friday or Saturday. Yeah. And to have music in this town 7 nights a week, and it extends down even up to Pueblo. Yeah. And we're opening up Castle Rock, and the West Side is always just there's always music there at a number of locations in Manitou. So we want to.
Oh yeah, there's great. I mean, Kinfolk, Swirl.
Yeah.
I love playing those places, and then there's also, like you said, there's stylistically the scene. We cast a wide net in the scene, and so there's a lot. And there's a great hip hop here too. I don't know if you know Alejandro Jaramillo, IB Hustles. He's amazing Latin hip hop, and then Stony Burt's is incredible. And then there's good punk that. Mostly don'ts are fun,
Yeah, well, and that's it. We love hearing new names, and I've heard almost all those names that you just mentioned, and really, we just found out since we've been doing this only for 3 weeks as KCOS that people still don't know that we have switched. They know the beat goes on Global Internet Radio by name, but and they know the Facebook page. And we encourage everybody to go hit that Facebook page, like it, write a review on the show, whatever, there's a review section, go to the event calendar and see all the people that we are booked every Thursday until mid-January. But bands, there's the send email button on that page. And we've been getting an awful lot of MP3 submittals from a lot of bands recently in many genres. And we'll continue to play whoever sends us music.
Yeah.
And we know that no one else is playing your music.
Yeah.
So we encourage everyone to send us your music. And for the artists that are on the show or that do send us music, if you want your music out, you kind of need to help us out and say, our music's being played on KCOSdigitalmedia.com. And, this place, we're trying to make it a little better because...
You're doing it?
Colorado Springs, it's a tense community. We have factions all over, and, we want to include everybody.
Yeah.
And so... I'm going to say again, you're doing your Noche de los Muertos at the Smoke Brush Theater, which not everybody knows exactly where that is anymore because it used to be the Independent Building. It used to be...
Yeah, they've moved around a lot. It's back to where it's been under the Colorado Bridge, Blues Under the Bridge is. Under there... There's the Trestle Building. There's the AHA and the Kreuzer Gallery, and then which Smoke Brush used to be in as well. But they're in the Trestle Building there, and so and they've been there for a number of years. But they're headquartered at the MAC in Manitou, so the nonprofit organization. But yeah, so under the Colorado Street Bridge and the Trestle Building, doors are at 7 p.m. We are doing our skeleton burning ceremony around 7:30 outside, and then our processional and invocation ceremony for Dia de los Muertos, and then the show itself will start around 8. And there's an open bar, $15 pre-sale tickets, $20 at the door. You can go to smokerush.org to get tickets.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping to hear.
Yeah.
And another song, of course.
Sure, okay, yeah. Here's one that's a mixture of styles, from tango to mariachi to even a little Caribbean flair in there. But,
The stiff suits, the freaks and wounded lovers, they all pass you by. They smile and grit their teeth at each other with a crazed look in their eyes. With crosses, rabbits, feet, and four-leaf clovers, they kneel down on the ground. They all pray and say there's nothing over, but after another round, only after another round. Blacked out for days with the hunger, just singing from your face like a song does. You say you wanna taste the rain and thunder, but you melt like a snowflake in the summer. On the road from Memphis to Kentucky, that's where you broke down. Take off your load and drink, this is the party while he's pouring you another round. Just waiting for another round. Now you count the spaces in your heartbeat to find out how the hatred and the love meet. She held a fire right up against your cold feet till the flames grew higher. You grew tired enough to fall asleep. Don't bother getting up to put the light on, she's California bound. Just nod and raise your cup until the night's gone. You're waiting for another round, just waiting for another round. But your head is in a different town. And now you count the spaces in your heartbeat to find out how the hatred and the love meet. She held a fire right up against your cold feet till the flames grew higher. You grew tired enough to fall asleep. On the road from Memphis to Kentucky, that's where you broke down. Take off your load and drink, this is the pocket while he's pouring you another round. Just waiting for another round. The owls, foxes, crickets and coyotes, they start to moan and howl. They'll not be watch your crickets and your cockies, but you're hypnotized by the sound. Your head is in a different town, but you're here waiting for another round. Now you count the spaces in your heartbeat to find out how the hatred and the love meet. She held the fire right up against your cold feet till the flames grew higher. You grew tired enough to fall asleep. No bother getting up to put the light on, she's California bound. Just nod and raise your cup until the night's gone. You're waiting for another round, just waiting for another round. But your head is in a different town.
Yeah.
It was a little mixture of a couple songs, but
Oh man, I just love your music, and
Thanks.
that's that's why we're here, is to get you out into the airwaves around the world, and because really, I've been around a lot. I did a lot of traveling, and there really are not a lot of guys like you that perform wherever you might want to be. The thing that comes to mind is like, I was raised in Fresno, and
sure.
we just had the big Fresno Fair, which is like, it's a 2-week deal. It's just huge because Fresno's the biggest hub of the agricultural
Sure,
community
yeah.
of San Juan
Central
Valley.
Valley, yeah.
And so everybody goes to the fair. I mean, they go to the fair like more than a few times
Yeah.
during the whole time, just because it's so fun. They have harness racing, concerts, the livestock, the rodeo, and
Yeah.
all that stuff, the rides, the food. But it's an event, and since being the predominant community that it is with, the agriculture, there's a lot of Tejano music,
Yeah.
and a lot of really cultural entertainment there that I've grown up on and come to love so much.
Nice.
And then used to work in San Antonio, and down at the Riverwalk, there'll be some Peruvian, acts, mariachi acts, what have you, trying to do some cultural awareness down there, which is huge,
Yeah. For
and
sure.
and it's really great. But you do a lot of touring and traveling. Where do you go, and what do they think?
Well, I stick to Colorado. I'm on a circuit that goes to the Western Slope,
Uh-huh.
and then the Front Range, of course. So I play about 30 to 40% of my gigs here in the Springs and Manitou because I live here.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier on me, but I do travel a lot, especially in the summer, and actually in the winter too. The ski seasons, the ski towns are good to me. So I'm in Crested Butte a lot, and I love it there. Aspen, I go to Crestone, Boulder, Denver, of course.
Yeah.
And then other towns. I try to book shows along the way in littler towns too. So yeah, it's fun. I really enjoy traveling in Colorado, and I get a mixed. I saw usually a warm reception. I'm very blessed. But yeah, people definitely are kind of like, where does this music come from? What is, they're definitely, and a lot of people that are scratching their heads are like, it sounds familiar, but they can't place it, and so it's like, and I think maybe it's because it has all of these cultural underpinnings from different places that are very unique and peculiar, but when you sort of mix them together, they have their own peculiar quality to them, and so for me, my mom is Czech, my dad's from Zacatecas, Mexico, so I'm Chexican, Chex-Mex, and
I love when you say it.
yeah, so and it's like I get this. I think it just by virtue of having these two disparate elements in my heritage, I get this very, it's like Latin gypsy is what I call it, myself and the music, because it's like this mixture of a lot of tango, of course, and mariachi, flamenco, and then but there's also calypso, Caribbean, a little bit of salsa in there, and Eastern European, Balkan Peninsula stuff too, Romanian scales and modes, Hungarian elements, and then a lot of accelerando and retardando and stuff. But then there's also just like sort of Americana stuff in there. I don't do hardly anything with a twang, but every now and then, I do some stuff that's twangy. But I do have another song that's going on that I love to showcase. It's brand new. That's going on
Sure.
the new The Leopard and the Vine album, Viva la Noche, and it's very Americana, another Americana song, and it's called what is it called? This Road. Well, in this
maze of mice, your mind gets lost. So you roll the dice with fingers crossed. You know you pay the price, but you don't know how much it will cost. And with their hands as soft as angel wings, they deal the cards and they pull the strings. They tell you life is hard, but just keep working for those diamond rings. Between the thieves and clowns, you earn your keep, and every day lay down your dreams to sleep. Always look around to be sure nobody sees when you leave. But before you found this road, you chose it in your soul. So when you've had enough, there's one thing you should know. Love won't find a way unless you choose it every day. It's more how you walk than how you kneel and pray. But you kneel and pray. Now the war is fought for kings and queens to keep their plots of precious things. So the soldiers taught it's their salvation not to fight dreams. Now the wolves have come to stake their claim. You can fight or run, but they know your name. And by the setting sun, they'll play this whole thing like a game. Before you found this road, you chose it in your soul. You find your thirst gets worse every time you curse your load. That your love won't find a way unless you choose it every day. It's more how you walk and how you kneel and pray. It's not what you want no longer. It's not why the coin was tossed. It's not how many hearts or how many lines were crossed. And so before you might let go, the best things can be slow. They taught you how to hold on, but not how to let go. So how will you let go?
I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
Of course, this is an interview, so I'm gonna ask you a question.
Sure, of course.
But so you mentioned one of your new projects is more guitar driven.
Yeah.
You're a pretty heavy hitting guitar picker in the first place. What can I expect knowing what your music is like that it's going to be more guitar driven?
Oh yeah, right. It is guitar driven as it is. Well, the Coyote del Quinto Mundo is the project that is just guitar and percussion, and so there's no vocals, and it'll all be guitar melody. I forgot my loop pedal, and I usually do. So I usually play this stuff live.
Yeah.
With and I'll do like. I mean, I could play some here. I'll play you some.
Well, you know what I want to do?
Sure.
I want to do this as I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, all right?
Okay.
Okay, so we are in the studio doing a pre-recorded session because Ryan had an opportunity to make some money tonight. So
Got a gig. Yeah.
who could deny anyone making money? And plus, being the gracious guy that Ryan is, he wanted to keep his commitment. And because this is the second annual show, we've been hyping.
Yeah.
I got to say thank you so much for coming in early.
Thank you.
But what I want to do is Facebook has done this really cool thing live.
Yeah, sure.
Facebook Live. So on the Beat Goes On Global Internet Radio Show page, I'm going to go live here in a minute.
Okay.
What I'd love for you to do is just say what you said just a minute ago about where Smoke Brush is and what
Sure.
the show is, and
Yeah.
then go into a song?
Okay, that sounds
All
great.
right, so let me hit the go live, and let's see, it's got, you're going, you're live.
All right. All right, so please go to smokebrush.org for tickets to the 6th annual Noche de los Muertos, a Day of the Dead celebration. And we will be playing live music and performance, burning an 8-foot skeleton, and honoring our ancestors through this ancient tradition of Dia de los Muertos. And here's some Latin gypsy music for you to prime pump the way.
So this is a live tease of the pre-recorded show. So we want to tell everybody to tune in to www.kcosdigitalmedia.com. You do it early because we are 24/7 all Colorado music, but this show in its entirety will be played at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we want to make sure that everyone who's going to watch this throughout the day is going to tune in and especially come to the celebration Saturday night at the Smoke Brush.
At 7 p.m. So for dinner, presented by Smoke Brush and KRCC, Heart Shaped Records, and Bristol Brewing Company. Smokebrush.org is where you get your pre-sale tickets. It's going to be a lovely show. It's our 6th annual, and we'd love to see you there. Thank you.
And if you want to play another song, we'll
Okay.
keep this going because, you know,
Sure.
this has been a great phenomenon. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Okay, awesome. Let me just think of one.
friends, if you like what you just heard, tune in tonight, kcosdigitalmedia.com, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for the whole 2-hour show. We're already halfway through it, but just wanted to give you a tease because it's been a great mode of getting things across to people on the page. This is quite a useful tool for what I call Wastebook, but hey, tell us where to find anything Ryan Flores.
Well, you can go to heartshapedrecords.org, and that'll have all of the projects that I'm in, including Moon Honey, Leopard and the Vine, Ondas, Love and Water, and Ryan Flores, of course, all of which have new recordings and albums coming out as soon as possible. It's a slow process trying to record a handful of albums at once, but it's fun and challenging. So heartshapedrecords.org. You can also find Heartshaped Records, me, Moon Honey, Leopard and the Vine, all of us on Facebook, Reverb Nation, Bandcamp, basically anywhere. YouTube, got some videos on YouTube for that. And then play live all the time, several times a week, especially if you're in Colorado, you're in luck. But
Now I want to tell you too, we have, like I say, been playing the Heartshaped Records sampler of 22 songs on kcosdigitalmedia.com.
There you go. You can find us there too.
Yeah, but one thing that we were really proud of, if you're registered through ASCAP, BMI, yada yada, and it shows up on our radio broadcast software, there is a buy now link.
Nice.
To when we play any of your music.
That's great.
And it goes right to it. We take nothing. It's Radio King, but it goes right to wherever your service is.
Awesome.
So that's the other plus for supporting local musicians, supporting local independent internet radio. We've had this conversation, all throughout the first hour that as much as we'd like to hear Ryan worldwide, you're doing it right now. I don't know who else is playing your music, but we sure want to support
Thank you.
anything that you do, and tune in tonight because it's going to be a great show, and the event Saturday last year was off the hook.
Oh, it's fun. It's going to be great. Yeah. Gracias.
Okay, so we're going to finish this live one, and someone was watching already.
Awesome.
But we're going to keep with the show because that's what we do. And, we went live for 14 minutes. So it was a good preview.
That's a good preview. And a little nerve-wracking, the whole, all the cameras and lights, but I'm grateful to be here.
Oh, you're a professional, man.
Okay, good. All right, good.
You're
well, I'm used to being on stage, but camera's a whole other, adds a whole other element to it. But
changing to
Thanks.
a traditional sounding song, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the very sort of gypsy, Eastern European gypsy, I guess. But it's probably arguable. It's again a pastiche of all different styles, but there's certainly an element of gypsy in there.
So this is, I know we talked about it before, and I actually turned that around so you can see.
Oh.
Maybe you won't be so afraid.
Okay.
Or not afraid, but nervous of the camera. Only one of them's going.
Yeah, that's all right.
But it's not like I haven't done that before.
No, of course. No, I just get red light syndrome, and anytime I know that like something is recording, it seems like I don't know. Like my nerves act up. I need to just like relax into it. But I play better when I'm not being recorded.
Why do you think I'm not in the frame?
Yeah.
My co-hosts Lisa and Laura, they go, oh, you should be in. It's like I don't want to be. I'm not Howard Stern or anybody like that. That I'm looking for any kind of personal recognition. This is about the show. This is about the musicians. This is about the Southern Colorado Musicians and Artists Cooperative Group page that, we want to make sure that everyone knows that they can feel free to join that group page, post their events, their
It's a great
songs,
page.
their links, their videos, anything.
Yeah.
But, we already have some spirits in the backyard.
I hear them howling back there.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
They're
actually.
my devil dogs.
Yeah.
But they're rugs normally. But this adds to the personality of the show. We've had nothing but positive comments on these shows. No matter who's been on the show, it's been a lot of fun to do, as well as I hope that you're having a good time.
Oh, it's great. I just love to play, and it's always a pleasure getting to see Mark White. Yeah, and then and the show's great. I listen to the show a number of times, and then I'm constantly following the page. You have a couple pages.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so-
we have the
Yeah.
Beat Goes On Global Internet Radio Facebook page just for this. What turned into, it started out being this show 2 years ago in January, and in fact you were like the third show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you called in and it was like.
Oh, we did
Yeah.
the. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, over the phone.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
So it
I
didn't
remember.
work. So we said, no, we got to change that. Got to get him in the studio. But it's been a long journey, and it's been a great journey. We've learned a lot. We've matured a lot. We've made a lot of friends, and that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's not like we laugh about some other interview shows, but not really laugh at them because
Yeah, sure.
there's not enough people to do justice to whatever local talent needs to have done for them.
We all appreciate it. I know that I can speak for the songwriter and musician community here, and it's really grateful for the support.
Well, the shows are all in archive, and so that we now have our new webpage. That's the www.kcosdigitalmedia.com. It has the Radio King player on it,
Nice.
so you can just hit that, listen all day. We're getting to the point where we're thinking maybe we should just have an app too. All this is going to grow as we continually grow, and in January it's going to be the start of our third year. And we're kicking it off. A metal band from Pueblo called Saboteur
Cool.
is going to be our
sounds
number
great.
100 anniversary show. But keep looking at the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody's welcome to send that email to the Facebook page and say I want to send some music or book a show. But really, what I wanted to ask you,
Sure.
and I think I've asked you before. But for those who have not listened to the other show, I attached that to the event page. So, because it included Adriana and Jason as
Sure,
a three-piece, and it was just a beautiful show. It was only an hour, and so that we said, we need to make this 2 hours, make it longer. So we have more in-depth personal conversation and, a lot more music.
Yeah.
But, so... Here's, it's a classic question, and I hate asking classic, cliched questions, but, I keep talking about when I was raised in Fresno, when I started listening to traditional Tejano, Mexican, Spanish music. Even FM radio was really cool in the late 60s about introducing really cool classical, Spanish style, flamenco style guitar players like Andres Segovia
Mm-hmm.
and Sabicas.
So you got, oh man.
You know,
Both of
it's,
them are-
oh yeah,
yeah,
see?
both of them are masters. Yeah.
And then Paco de Lucia,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
it's-
great loss just a
Yeah.
while ago. But so, you know, I've talked to a couple of players of your genre, and you know, they look at me like, well, you're the white boy that just skims the top of the cream, you know. And there's a whole depth of traditional Spanish guitar players, the Mexican, the Aztec.
Yeah.
You know, anybody that plays the genre. Where did you draw your influence from?
Well, I again, have come with mixed heritage,
Yeah.
Eastern European and Mexican, and so that plays into it. I think a little, at least. And then I just started listening to a lot of tango when I was in my 20s, and I love tango because it's like the roots music of Latin America. It's almost like rock and roll of
Absolutely.
South America, because it kind of like, you know, this blues meets Western music fused, and meets, you know, all manner of other genres in this melting pot here fused into rock and roll. It's like the folk music from the Pampas, these gaucho, like, you know, potreros that are playing guitar out in the pastures, met with the Italians and the Germans that came into Buenos Aires, who brought the bandoneon and the violin, and pretty soon, you know, you mix them all together over several decades, and then you've got this really interesting synthesis that doesn't sound like anything else in the world. You know,
Absolutely.
there's nothing like tango. There's no, you know, it's like rock and roll and tango are like so singular in their approach, you know, and in their I don't know, it's like radical, and they both kind of have a similar historical trajectory, in as much as they were kind of spurned and looked down upon by the dominant culture for a long time before it was actually, you know, embraced, and now it's like, you know, mainstream almost, you know. And so, it's certainly rock and roll and tango down there, and in Europe as well. But at any rate, so yeah, I think then I met Adriana. I was playing classical guitar in a Spanish restaurant, Agrario, in the Ozarks in Springfield, Missouri. And I was studying at Missouri State, and as was Adriana, she was studying music, and I was studying literature. And at any rate, so we met, and, you know, we fell in love and were together for almost 5 years. So, but we started playing music together right away and started gigging together. So it's been almost 10 years that we've been playing, writing, and gigging together. And so at any rate, so we still play to this day and draw influences from these very specific places, which are usually Latin music, especially tango and flamenco, and then as rock and roll as well, and R&B. We both love rock and roll and R&B. I mean, Jimmy Page is my favorite guitar player on the planet. But you know, even in spite of all of these classic masters, you know, Jimmy Page just has something that I can't find anywhere else, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So at any rate, I digress. But so yeah, there's all these elements, and then there's the gypsy element too that Adriana and I were both drawn to, and always have been, because there's so much virtuosity in it, and so much wit and humor in it, and that really goes a long way for me, because it's so easy to take it all so really seriously, you know. Especially we play a lot of minor stuff, or, you know, we modulate to major sometimes. I can play a calypso piece here that we'll play in major, and so it's nice to have a little bit of wit and humor in there, and I think the gypsy element really adds that in a way that it adds a levity to this music that has a lot of gravitas. That, you know, it's like it can be heavy and emotional, but then, you know, you have this really fun element to it as well. You know, like they use a lot of chromatics. Like here's a sort of riffing off of traditional gypsy tune, but it's one of ours. But And so a lot of times they'll, start slow and speed up, acelerando, and retardando. It's in minor key, but it has a levity to it that's, that kind of, it almost undermines the sort of sad nature of the tonic, and so I really love that. Adriana does too, and so we've always gravitated toward this, mixing these disparate elements that are like this heavy quality and like sort of mournful quality that's in the gypsy music, but then with this really fun, danceable element that I don't know. It's just lively, fun music that exemplifies all of these the sort of sadness and the happiness that life offers.
Well, and that's a quest from people from every sense around the world, and what I'd like to try to do is to break the cliches that people might have about certain eras of time, certain musical styles, certain cultures. Okay, here's the parallel. The Europeans brought classical guitars to South America, and people started picking them up and, making all that great music that we largely don't ever get to hear. Robert Duvall made a movie about his tango experience, and he's an excellent tango dancer,
Nice.
and it's been a practice of an art that takes a lifetime to master the tango as a dance.
And as a musician.
And as a musician. But, and so the circular parallel too, for me, is immediately, I'm a big blues lover.
Sure, yeah.
And, the origin of the blues was cigar box guitars.
Yeah.
People
and slavery.
were so poor they had to make their own guitars out of stuff that they could assemble and entertain themselves.
Yeah.
And, the blues were born out of that. And the circular motion to that is that all the British invasion musicians wanted to be like the Delta blues people, Chicago blues people, and then they just found amplifiers and turned it up to 12, and you have Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page is a musical genius in my mind too.
And a production genius too. I mean, he's humble, and that's really goes a long way for me. He's not some megalomaniac on an ego trip. He's like, he's a real guy that comes from leads with the heart through his music and his life, and he's a big inspiration for me.
And every Led Zeppelin album had been a progression and maturity.
Yeah.
The first two were just boom in your face, and then Led Zeppelin 3 comes out and he's starting to do mandolin and acoustic songs, and Celebration Day is kind of a gypsy song.
Sure,
right?
yeah. And Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You is a flamenco riff,
man.
Yeah. So there's nobody quite like him. Yeah, and so that's what we're going for this as well, is this mixture, but we're trying to keep it deeply rooted in some ancient traditions, and don't get me wrong, I do like electronic music, and
I know,
and I write in all kinds of styles, but primarily lately I've been doing this Latin gypsy music because it affords me a lot of gigs for one thing, but because there aren't a lot of people doing it.
Right.
But it also it's humbling to me because it's not easy to play, and it's like it's not just GCD stuff, or and blues, and I love the blues, and play we played the blues we just played the blues the other night, and I can play a lot of different styles, and I love to play a lot of different styles. But so some of the style, and you can take each style as far as you want to go. But there's something about the Latin stuff and the flamenco especially that has I don't know. It's like the beginner's mind. Every time I sit down to my instrument, I'm like, okay, whoa, I've got so much to learn and such a long way to go with this.
Yeah.
Do we?
That's the crowd scrambling to get.
Okay, yeah.
You're already attracting thousands of fans.
Oh yeah, there they
across
are at the door.
neighborhood. Yeah. That's how we play that out.
But yeah, I have this newer stuff that I'm kind of mixing with some older stuff. That's I could play a song that's kind of draws from a little bit of the French gypsy tradition. It's not straight up gypsy jazz, but it has some elements in there, and then it will go into a more gypsy stomp that is an original song that we wrote. I mean, it's all original, but it's all derivative too at the same time. Kind of like the early Zeppelin stuff. It's original, but it's derivative. So but
no Willie Dixon copies from you though, huh?
Yeah, what's that?
No Willie Dixon copies on your music.
No, yeah, right.
Life's not what we thought it was. Let's have a drink just because. Life's not what we thought it was. Let's dance and sing just because. Life's not what we thought it was. Let's make some love just because. Let's dance and sing just because. Let's have a drink just because. Let's have a drink just because. Let's dance and sing just because. Let's make some love just because. Let's have a drink just because we want that buzz. Because we're finding faith in the sound of the world spinning around. Bury ourselves in the ground to feel it spinning around. Let's have some faith in the sound of the world spinning around. The world is spinning around. The world is spinning around. Everything's 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 spinning. So let's just be in love. Let's be here now. Let's rise above. Let's make the moment count. Here and now. Make it count. Please tell me you hear me. Just be in love. Just be here now. Just rise above. Just make the moment count. Here and now. Make it count. Please tell me you hear me again. You hear me again. You hear me. Because life's not what we thought it was. Let's have a drink just because. Life's not what we thought it was. Let's dance and sing just because. Life's not what we thought it was. Let's make some love just because. Let's dance and sing just because. Let's have a drink just because. Let's have a drink just because. Let's have a drink just because we want that buzz. Because we're finding faith in the sound of the world spinning around. Bury ourselves in the ground to feel it spinning around. Let's have some faith in the sound of the world spinning around. The world is spinning around. Everything's 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 spinning. So let's just be in love. Let's be here now. Let's rise above. Let's make the moment count. Here and now. Make it count. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Just be it now. Just be it now. Let's rise above. Let's make the moment count. Here and now. Make it count. Here and now. Just be it now. Let's be it now. Let's rise above. Let's make the moment count. Here and now. Make it count. Tell me you hear me. You hear me? Can you hear me? Just be here now.
I love that song.
Thank you.
Know, I know it's called Be in Love.
Be in love.
I listen to it, and every time it's on, I hear it on the station. It's like, yeah, I love that song. It's almost like an anthem, you know. And so
Thank you.
that begs a question too. You know, as often as you play, and I know you have a large following of friends, do people recognize by name your songs?
Yeah, several of them. That one for sure. It gets
Yeah.
a lot of. There's a. Yeah.
So you do a sing-along version of that song?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you ought to, really.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, this song is several years old. I think it's like, it's at least 3 or 4 years old. So it's undergone a lot of changes, and I still tweak it. And we recorded it once, but not really. So we're getting ready to really record it. You know,
Oh,
I just
wow.
wanted, you mentioned Segovia earlier, and I
Yeah.
read. I have a degree in Spanish literature from the University of Colorado,
Oh,
and
man.
and so I did a project my last semester on Segovia, on his autobiography,
Wow.
and it was fascinating. He was a very disciplined guy, and he
Yeah.
really took the guitar. He brought the guitar to the stage,
Yes.
literally. It wasn't considered a classical instrument for him, and so at any rate, so I'm not trying to draw a parallel there, except that he used to when he'd learn a song or adapt a song, he would play it, but he would play it privately for 1 year, and then he would play it for 2 years on the stage before he would record it. So 3 years before he would go into the studio and record a song, you know what I mean? And so you get all this nuance, and of course his songs, this is a 4-chord song. His songs are the songs that he plays rather infinitely more complex. But nonetheless, there's still this development, this growth that comes out of playing a song over and over and over again, and so I get tired. I do get tired of playing songs, but if the crowd wants it, I play it. But this song, it's always been a kind of a problem child, because it speeds up, it slows down. It's it's got a tempo change, key change, and so it's like. But I love it's never really been tamed, so it's like this raucous, wild stallion that you've got to kind of get on until it bucks you off, and so. Despite the fact that I've been playing it for years, I still don't feel like it's finished, So, at any rate, long-winded answer to your question.
But that's an interesting statement, though, because, I think the first time I saw you play live was at Studio B,
Sure.
and I actually videoed that song, and, it's on the Southern Colorado Musicians and Artists Cooperative YouTube channel, along with a lot of other Ryan Flores gem performances, and I just think it's a great song.
Thank you.
And to hear you say, well, I don't think it's quite finished yet.
Yeah.
And so, once again, this is a parallel to people that come and see you and don't maybe take the time to say hello and get to know you and follow you that much, but most everybody that sees you, I'm sure, I know, everybody goes, this guy's complete. He's right on. He's dead all the time, And then the musician self, awareness. I won't say doubt, but
It's definitely screwed.
it's balance, isn't it?
Yeah. I try to put everything under the microscope and try not to. It's good. I think it's good to play your strengths and celebrate your victories or whatnot. But I don't. Too much back patting is not productive, and so.
Well, it's not like someone's going to yell out, "Play Freebird!"
Right. Yeah. And so I do some covers. I was wanting to play a cover by a woman, if that's all right. This Laza de Cela is one of my favorite songwriters in Spanish. I try to just develop every show. I look at as an opportunity for development and to rehearse something with in a critical way, but in a way that also allows me to be expressive in the moment. And so because I am so critical in the studio, and so it's nice to have this like springboard that I can get, I don't have a day job, so I just do music, so it's like I get to rehearse all the time on stage with people there. And it's not like I'm sitting there like stopping and like, messing up the song. I try not to bring anything to the stage that is completely crude and unfinished, but nonetheless, yeah, every time I pick up my instrument, I'm learning something, and I'm trying something new and trying to develop this weird style that I play in that's it's different and it's fun and it pushes me to be a better musician.
Well, here again, there's another parallel. I mean, I think in parallels. I was a professional logistician for my career, so I think in circular, rounds of completion.
Sure.
And so going back to Jimmy Page, there was that first initial fascination with Led Zeppelin, and I kind of got tired of them in the fourth album, and then I got really tired of them when the live album came out.
Yeah.
And then Presence came out, and I think the sequel to the song that you just mentioned first, that was the blues song, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, or no, yeah.
Yeah, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You.
Okay, so I brought from Presence, the album Presence, T for One,
sure,
was like the follow-on to that song.
Yeah.
And it just fits so completely in my mind. But so I guess I can understand what you're saying with your music, that you're completely never satisfied, and that your performances, and especially like Jimmy Page, when I discovered the internet and you could download. I don't know if this is for public broadcast, but now it's, okay. I have tons of Led Zeppelin bootleg live shows.
Yeah.
And every song, every time, every concert, it's different.
Yeah, I love that
It
about
is
him.
different every time.
See, the musicians I play with don't like that about me.
Oh man, I think that's
they play like last night we were at rehearsal, our final rehearsal before the Day of the Dead show on Saturday night, and I play with these classically trained musicians who are all amazing, and it is a privilege to play with them. But I am like a loose cannon to them because I'm constantly changing things. I rarely play things the same twice, and so they're I keep them on their toes,
Yeah.
and not that they're completely capable. But Stefan Doucette, who's the guitarist for Mango Fandango, amazing gypsy jazz guitar player, and I don't use amazing lightly.
I'm glad you brought it up because that was going to be my next question. I love Mango Fandango.
Oh, they're incredible.
And
Stefan is just a sublime musician and an all-around cool guy. But he plays bass with us, upright bass. I always feel like, oh God, we're squandering this guy by not having him on the guitar, But he's an exquisite double bass player as well, and so he's really fun to play with. But so we were talking last night about how it's an adjustment for him to play with me because Mango plays things, it's like clockwork, nail it every time in the same
Shout
way.
out to Eddie too, man. Love Art.
Oh, Art Shop Eddie's amazing. Yeah.
And he's got an open invitation for a show too.
Sure, yeah, he's incredible. He's one of the finer guitarists around as well. But so for me, it's like I am a wild. I'm like unbridled live because I'm constantly playing on the crowd and whatever. I'm like,
that's what I love about you, man. Really.
Yeah, so not everybody does, but but it is fun, and I try not to, be too indulgent, going on 20-minute long solos or anything. But I like the element of improvisation in there at least a little bit because it's expressing what's happening in the moment, and it's not some formulaic, robotic sort of thing, and that's just not how I play, So, but and not that the musicians I play with do play like that, but. It is a nice little mixture of trying to get me to play. All right, let's try do the
toe the line, man, you know, and it's like, okay, all right, I'll try. So it's been a challenge, but yeah, I'd love to play another one we're gonna play on for this Saturday, if that's all right.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a song by Laza de Sela, who was taken from us at a young age, and I'm sad about that. So it's fitting that we're going to play it to honor her, because she is also, like me, a halfie of Mexican descent. Laza de Sela, she's a very talented songwriter. I highly recommend her first album, La Llorona. But this one's called Con Toda Palabra. Con toda palabra, con toda sonrisa, con toda mirada, con toda caricia, me acerco al agua, bebiendo tu beso, la luz de tu cara, la luz de tu cuerpo, el ruego, el quererte, es canto de mudo, mirada del seco, secreto desnudo, me entrego a tus brazos, con miedo, con calma, y un ruego en la boca, y un ruego en el alma, y un ruego en la boca, y un ruego en el alma. Con toda palabra, con toda sonrisa, con toda mirada, con toda caricia, me entrego a tus brazos, con miedo y con calma, y un ruego en la boca, y un ruego en el alma, es ruego el quererte, es canto de mudo, mirada del seco, que todo desnudo, entre los fuego, un ruego lo quema, y un ruego en la boca, y un ruego en el alma, me acerco al agua, bebiendo tu beso, la luz de tu cara, la luz de tu cuerpo, la luz de tu cara, la luz de tu cuerpo, la luz de tu cara, la luz de tu cuerpo.
I could listen to this all day. You know, this has been not only just a fun show, but really, I mean, this is really the longest conversation you and I have had together.
It is.
You know, and it's just been a pleasure
Likewise.
getting to know you in a deeper level. You know, I love your music. Wherever
Thank
you go, people should be just flocking to see you wherever you go. So real quickly, where are your favorite places around the area for people to catch you at?
Well, I have, you know, I just recently through the winter took on a weekly gig at Rico's, Port Richards, downtown Colorado Springs on Tejon. And so that's fun, and it'll be a lot of this stuff, just me solo. I'll have people coming through
Now, what day is that?
every Sunday,
Okay, cool.
6:30 p.m. And then the Wild Goose is one of my favorites. It's tiny little venue. These are both tiny little venues.
It's very tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny, but it's so fun.
Okay.
And we love the people there. That not only the owners and the people that work there, but the people that come there are really great. And we love playing there. And so we're there once a month. It varies. Let's see. I play all over. You know, any place you can play here, I do play usually. You know, but I like Swirl a lot. Swirl's yeah, it's a nice spot.
Beautiful building inside.
Oh yeah, and the owners are just magnificent people and really sweet, and yeah, they really do a good job. Good wine list too.
Two South is fun. It's a little quieter, but I do love it there. Where else that's nice? I like the Black Sheep is fun. I've only played there a couple times. It's not, aesthetically not my favorite venue, but the sound system's good and the people are cool. So yeah, I like playing. I like playing anywhere I can play. I try to play, but there are some favorites. I love Montaña Distillers in Crested Butte is a lovely venue, great people, and amazing craft cocktails. If you're into that thing, let's see. The Laughing Goat in Boulder's nice. There are a lot of venues that I really enjoy playing. See, I'm playing Gold Hill Mesa tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that's turned into quite the. Stephanie Edwards has really done a good job of.
She's awesome.
Keeping the place entertained.
Yeah, I play there, pretty regularly. A music company, Amy Weitzel, books me. She's books me part time, and so she gets me gigs there pretty regularly, and other places as well. But I also love Meadowgrass is nice. That's a fun venue.
Yeah,
We've played that.
We haven't talked about that. You've done that how many times?
I'm not sure. I think it's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a fun. And I love Steve Harris and Rocky Mountain Highway and all of the people. That's a great community of people, and La Forêt is lovely. I'm not sure how much longer that festival is going to be there, but yeah, there's a lot of places around. I want to branch out more. So any venue owner that potentially is listening to this, heartshapedrecords.org, please book me. I'm ready.
That's the point. Yeah, we want you to be heard in a lot more areas. Even though you play so many shows, I don't know. You'll find out when you're too busy, but
yeah,
until
not yet.
then, we want to hear you, man.
I'm like half throttle right now. I got a lot more in me. Yeah. Let's do this.
Oh man, well, you know what? It's almost been 2 hours.
Okay, are we?
You want to end up with a song?
Sure. Yeah. Just cue me when I should.
Well, you
cut out.
Just
okay.
Give us the grand finale.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best here. I'm trying to think of something.
Brian Flores.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, Mark.
Yeah, you're on the every year calendar. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Ryan, for
Thank you.
gracing us with your presence on such a very busy time. You're one of the most enjoyable and prolific musicians in the region.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. It's an honor to be here, and I'm grateful to all the listeners out there and supporters like yourself. And please come Saturday if you can. Smokebrush.org. Show starts at 8. Doors at 7. Skeleton Burns at 7:30.
Oh, that's going to be great, because last year it was a little chilly. I
It was.
didn't make it outside for that one. But
Yeah,
I'm-
I think we're gonna have good weather this year. So.
I think so too, yeah.
So.
All right, man. We'll, I know you got to get to another appointment,
Yeah.
and thank you for doing this.
My pleasure, Mark. Thank
And
you.
we hope to be part of whatever you're doing for years to come.
Likewise.
Especially for this event, we want to support.
Sure. Yeah, and likewise for the radio station, I'd love to be a part as well. So.
Oh, you are. You are
Yeah, so
definitely.
many
Thank you so
blessings.
much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good.